Why do good people who play by the rules so often finish last? We are raised on a diet of comfortable lies. We are told that fairness is rewarded, that virtue is its own prize, that if you are honest, diligent, and kind, you will naturally succeed. And yet, we look at the world and we see a very different story. We see the ruthless rise. We see the cunning manipulator win the promotion. We see the leader who breaks every promise gain the power. We are told to play fair, but the game itself seems hopelessly rigged, rewarding not the most virtuous, but the most strategic and often the most ruthless. If this dissonance makes you uncomfortable, if it makes you question the very foundations of what you've been taught, then you are ready to understand the man who wrote the rule book for this reality. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and his work is not a guide to how the world should be. It is a terrifyingly accurate map of how the world is. He did not invent the darkness. He merely had the courage to describe it. Tonight, we are not just reading his most infamous book, The Prince. We are unlocking its darkest, most forbidden lessons. These are the lessons for those who want to win, not just to participate. These are the lessons in power. This is not a story about morality. It is a masterclass in reality. If you are ready to stop playing fair, your education begins now. To understand the poison, you must first understand the man who brewed it. Niccolò Machiavelli was not a monster born in shadows. He was a product of fire, failure, and the brutal reality of 15th century Italy. Born in Florence in 1469, he was, first and foremost, a patriot, a brilliant, dedicated public servant. For 14 years, he served the Florentine Republic as a high-ranking diplomat and secretary. He wasn't a philosopher in an ivory tower. He was an operative on the front lines. He met kings. He negotiated with popes. He analyzed the strategies of the most successful and most catastrophic leaders of his time. He saw with his own eyes what worked and what failed. He saw virtuous leaders, honest and beloved, get crushed. He saw their cities fall, their people slaughtered, precisely because they were too good. He saw them hesitate when a ruthless man would have acted. He saw them keep promises to allies who had already decided to betray them. He saw their morality become their execution order. Then, in 1512, Machiavelli's world collapsed. The powerful Medici family, who had been exiled, returned to Florence backed by a powerful army. The Republic was overthrown. Machiavelli, as a key figure of the old government, was immediately identified as an enemy. He was arrested. He was imprisoned and he was tortured. He was subjected to the strappado, a horrific method where the prisoner's hands are tied behind their back, the rope is slung over a beam, and they are hoisted into the air, dislocating both shoulders. He endured this 6 times. This is the crucible that forged the prince. When he was finally released, he was a broken man, politically ruined, financially destitute, and banished from the city he loved. He retreated to his small farm, and in this bitter exile, he wrote his masterpiece. The Prince was not a work of academic theory. It was a job application. It was a desperate, brilliant attempt to prove his worth to the very Medici family who had tortured him, to show them that he, and only he, understood the true mechanics of power. He was essentially saying, "You took my city, you destroyed my life, but you did it successfully. I know how you did it, and I know how you can keep it. All those other philosophers will tell you how to be good. I will tell you how to be great. I will tell you how to survive." He poured every painful lesson, every brutal observation, every ounce of his cynical genius into one slim volume. He was not writing to be loved, he was writing to be useful. He was writing the truth. And the truth, as he had learned, is rarely kind.
What follows are the lessons that have been whispered in the halls of power for 5 centuries. They are dangerous, they are effective, and they are not for the faint of heart. This is, perhaps, his most infamous declaration, and it is the one most people misunderstand. Machiavelli did not advocate for cruelty for its own sake. He was not a sadist, he was a pragmatist. He asks, what is the foundation of a leader's power? Love or fear? He argues that love is a dangerously volatile bond. It is based on obligation, gratitude, and emotion. But people are fickle. As he writes, men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. They will love you when you are useful to them. The moment you ask them for a sacrifice, the moment it becomes inconvenient, that love evaporates. You cannot control it. Fear, however, is a different animal. Fear, he argues, is held by a dread of punishment which never fails. Love is a bond you hope others will honor. Fear is a bond you control. A leader who is merely loved will be abandoned at the first sign of trouble. A leader who is feared will be obeyed, even begrudgingly, because the consequences of disobedience are clear, consistent, and guaranteed. The crucial distinction, and the one that separates a master from a tyrant, is that Machiavelli warns against being hated. He says a leader must, at all costs, avoid being hated. How? He can do this, Machiavelli writes, if he abstains from the property of his citizens and subjects, and from their women. Do not be a predator. Do not be erratic. Do not steal from your people or dishonor them. Be disciplined. Your cruelty, if you must use it, must be purposeful, swift, and justified for the security of the state, not for your personal pleasure. To be feared is to be respected as a force of nature. To be hated is to invite conspiracy and rebellion. The leader who is loved is building a castle on sand. The leader who is feared is building it on granite. He would prefer to be both, but if he must choose, he will always choose the foundation that cannot be washed away by the changing tides of human emotion. He will choose fear.
Machiavelli argues that a leader, a true prince, must embody 2 animals, the lion and the fox. This is a profound lesson in strategy. The lion, he says, represents strength. The lion is power, force, and might. The lion can frighten off the wolves. It is the raw power of the state, the army, the police, the ability to enforce your will. Without the lion, you are defenseless. Your enemies will simply devour you. But, Machiavelli notes, the lion has a fatal flaw. He is not subtle. He is pure strength, and because of this, he cannot defend himself against snares. The lion is easily trapped. He is predictable. He stumbles into political traps and diplomatic ambushes because he cannot see them. This is where you need the fox. The fox is cunning. The fox is guile, deception, and strategy. The fox is not strong, but he knows how to recognize snares. The fox sees the trap before it sprung. He understands the hidden motives of others. He can navigate the complex web of alliances and betrayals. A leader who is only a lion will be feared, yes, but he will eventually be outsmarted and trapped by a weaker, more clever opponent. He will be the strong man who is suddenly overthrown by a palace coup he never saw coming. A leader who is only a fox may be clever, but he has no real power. He can see the traps, but he cannot frighten the wolves. His cunning is useless without the strength to act. He will be the brilliant advisor who is ultimately ignored or crushed by the warlords around him. The true master of power, the Machiavellian prince, must be both. He must have the strength of the lion to enforce his will and destroy his enemies. And he must have the cunning of the fox to navigate the shadows, to break promises when it is necessary for survival, and to see the treachery in a friendly smile. He must know when to roar and when to lay a snare. He must be, as Machiavelli writes, a fox to discover the snares and a lion to terrify the wolves. This duality is the engine of ruthless success. It is the ability to be civilized and brutal, honest and deceptive, transparent and secretive, all in the service of a single goal: survival and victory.
This phrase is often attributed to Machiavelli, but it perfectly encapsulates his most chilling doctrine. To be clear, Machiavelli did not say that any end justifies any means. He was not an anarchist. He was, again, a pragmatist obsessed with one ultimate end: the security, stability, and survival of the state. His argument is this: in the brutal world of politics, traditional morality, honesty, compassion, mercy is a luxury. It is a suicide pact. If a leader, a prince, is faced with a choice between telling a lie that saves his country from a devastating war versus telling the truth that plunges it into chaos, what should he do? The traditional moralist would say he must tell the truth. Machiavelli would call him a fool. Machiavelli argues that the highest virtue for a leader is not his personal piety or his clean hands. The highest virtue is the success and preservation of the state he leads. If a lie preserves the state, then that lie is not a sin, it is a necessity. If a swift, brutal act of cruelty against a handful of rebels prevents a civil war that would kill thousands, then that cruelty is not evil, it is virtuous in its outcome. This is the dark part. Machiavelli forces us to judge a leader not by his intentions or by the morality of his individual actions, but by the results. He writes, "Let a prince have the credit of conquering and holding his state. The means will always be considered honest, and he will be praised by everybody." In short, win. If you win, if your state is secure, if your people are, on the whole, stable and prosperous, history will not care about the immoral things you did in the dark to make it happen. They will call you a hero. If you fail, if you are virtuous and moral, but you allow your state to be conquered, your goodness will be a footnote to your disastrous legacy. This is a terrifying calculus. It removes personal morality from the equation of leadership. The only thing that matters is the result. The preservation of power is the highest good, and any means necessary to achieve that end is therefore not just justified, it is required. This is the final and perhaps most psychologically disturbing lesson. Machiavelli argues that trying to be a good person in the traditional Christian sense is a direct path to political ruin. He states bluntly, "A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to ruin among so many who are not good." Read that again. He must come to ruin. It is not a possibility. It is a certainty. Why? Because a truly good person is predictable. His actions are constrained by his moral code. A good person will not lie. A good person will not be ruthless. A good person will keep his promises, even when it is foolish. His enemies, who are not good, have no such constraints. They will lie. They will be ruthless. They will break their promises. In a strategic contest, the predictable, constrained player always loses to the flexible, unconstrained one. So what is the answer? Machiavelli's solution is a masterstroke of cynical genius. He says the prince must not be virtuous. He must learn how not to be good and to use this knowledge according to necessity. But, and this is the key, he must appear to be virtuous to the masses. He writes that a prince should appear to be merciful, faithful, humane, religious, upright. It is the appearance of virtue that matters, not the possession of it. Why? Because the people, the masses, judge by what they see. They do not judge by the secret, necessary cruelties you commit in the council room. They judge by your public face. So, be a master of illusion. In public, be a man of the people. Be pious. Speak of peace. Talk of justice. In private, do what you must to win. This is the ultimate duality. The prince is an actor. His greatest skill is managing the perception of the public while engaging in the ruthless, pragmatic actions required to hold power behind the curtain. To be good is to be a victim. To appear good while being willing to be not good in private is to be a master. This is the final, dark lesson. Virtue is a tool. It is a weapon of perception.
Like all tools, it is to be used when it is useful and set aside when it is not. Before we continue, we have just dissected the 4 core ruthless lessons that Machiavelli laid bare. We've examined the cold logic of fear, the strategic necessity of deception, and the chilling idea that virtue itself can be a liability. These are not comfortable ideas. They are difficult truths. If you value this level of deep, unfiltered analysis, if you believe in understanding the world as it is, not just as we wish it were, then I invite you to join this channel. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell. We are building a community dedicated to mastering the hidden rules of power and strategy. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Now, let us see how these 500-year-old lessons are being used against you right now in the 21st century.
500 years have passed. We tell ourselves we are more civilized, more enlightened. We are wrong. Machiavelli's lessons are not a historical curiosity. They are a daily updated news feed. The language has changed, but the game has not. We no longer see princes. We see CEOs, politicians, media moguls, and influencers. But the ruthless pursuit of power is identity. The lion and the fox is the entire basis of modern strategy. The lion is the corporation's war chest, its legal team, its ability to crush a smaller competitor with sheer financial force. The fox is its PR department, its lobbyists, its strategic rebranding, its ability to shape a narrative, to spin a disaster, to plant a story. The ends justify the means is the silent creed of Silicon Valley's move fast and break things. It is the logic that justifies harvesting user data, creating addictive algorithms, and stifling competition, all in the name of a greater end, innovation, or shareholder value. The dangers of virtue is the brutal reality of modern politics. The candidate who plays fair and sticks to the issues is often drowned out by the one who is willing to lie, to manipulate, to go negative. We say we want honest leaders, but we reward the ones who tell us the most compelling story, regardless of its truth. And feared versus loved? Look at any modern corporate environment. The loved manager, the one who is everyone's friend, is often seen as weak and is passed over. The feared executive, the one whose standards are exacting and whose displeasure is terrifying, is the one who commands obedience. They are not hated, they are respected for their power and decisiveness. They are Machiavellian. We live in a world built by Machiavelli's disciples. They have simply learned his most important lesson: to appear virtuous while practicing his timeless, ruthless strategies in the shadows.
Niccolò Machiavelli died in 1527. He never got the political job he craved. The Prince was not even published until 5 years after his death, and when it was immediately condemned by the Church as a work of the devil. He died, by his own standards, a failure. And yet, he achieved a different kind of immortality. He became the man who told the truth about power. His lessons are deeply uncomfortable. They feel wrong. They grate against every moral fiber we possess. We want to believe in fairness.
We want to believe that good triumphs. But Machiavelli's ghost whispers a cold, simple question to us across the centuries. Do you want to be good, or do you want to win? He was not a teacher of evil. He was a teacher of reality. He gave us the X-ray, and it is not his fault that the skeleton it revealed is ugly. He exposed the source code of power. What you do with this knowledge is now up to you. You can choose to ignore it. You can continue to play fair, to be virtuous, and to hope for the best. And you will likely join the long-forgotten list of good people who came to ruin. Or you can understand the game. You can see the lion and the fox moving in the boardroom. You can recognize when the ends are being used to justify the means. You can distinguish the appearance of virtue from the cold calculus of power beneath it. Machiavelli gave you the map. He showed you the rules of the real game. The only question that remains is, are you willing to pay the price to play it? And now, we want to hear from you. Do you believe these lessons are a necessary, if brutal, guide to effective leadership? Or are they simply a charger for sociopaths? Share your uncensored thoughts in the comments below. Is it truly better to be feared or to be loved? Tell us what you think.